Hello there, it's Tails from Studio Wildfire here, and I'm back again to build another adventure map. Okie dokie. Pardon me. So, let's jump right in. And hello everyone. Hope your Monday is panning out to be a good day. It's piddling down with rain where I am, so it's looking like it's going to be a bit of a dreary day. So, good day to do some map building. Okay, so I'm going to make a where was I? It's a brick floor. No, we want to use brick walls. That's what we're going to use. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to make a staircase going from the top floor down to the bottom floor, or one of the bottom floors. So let's just quickly chuck in, and I'll just make this a bit bigger. So fit to window, there we go. So I'll quickly chuck in the border as I usually do. Oops, come on. There we go. Oh, wrong one. Computer seems to be a bit sluggish this morning. I don't think it enjoys the cold weather. Here we go. So let's just do. Okay, so there's our corners. Come on, why are you not clicking over? Here we go. Okay, so we then go. So I'll put in. Oops. Yeah, my computer is not really enjoying the cold weather. Like, it's not doing that. That's weird. May have to switch pens. This pen seems to be acting up. Here we go. That seems to be a bit better. Yep. But yeah, how is everybody doing? I'm getting ready for another week of adventure map writing. Well, actually writing adventures. The Trader's Way is very close to being done. It's taken so long to get this one done. I think it's because it's mostly written material for the adventure that I'm working on at the moment. It's the bulk of it is all description. Let's just put that up in there. Oh, it sounds like I got a bit of a froggy throat. Bit of water. Okay, so I want to have a staircase in the middle. So how am I going to do that? I want to do it as a big staircase. So let's go and look at what set I was using. I think I was using the Catacombs set last time, so let's just build in that. Was using these Catacomb floor rock floor. This one, yeah. Okay. Then we want to use spiraling steps. Yeah, we'll use these ones. So these will go into our. Okay, so we've got a bit of a problem here. This should go into the floor. These should go into our walls folder. That should be in the floor. In fact, I'm going to make a folder called staircase. There we go. And let's. So it'll be a big one going around the middle. that there. And this one goes there. Now see these empty bits? They're like that so that you can have the staircase sort of come out on a floor level. So what we want to do is we want to have a bit of this brickwork underneath. So let's go and put some brickwork. So we won't put it in the staircase folder, but I do want the staircase folder above it. There we go. So we'll have it there. Oops. So this is where taking off pick mode on this brush is very handy. Like pick mode basically means it'll pick up whatever's underneath the brush when you click, which can be useful and a pain in the bum all in the one go. So we do that. Okay, see how it fills in that space? That's what we want. And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to figure out where the staircase is going to start. So where is someone going to enter? They're going to enter over here, over here, over here. Okay, that should block it in quite nicely. So we want this to be a staircase going down. So they have to enter here and then go around this way. So we'll have it that we'll hide. So this is where the pick option comes in. So this one, let's hide that. So we'll enter here, start going down this way. But we're going to have the staircase, the steps from this level, so we want to have the floor from this level above these steps. And this is the wrong color here. We should have this. This should be below. There we go. The shading looks correct there. So this should be. So that should be that one. Then the next one up should be that one. Yep. Next one up should be this one. That's what we want. Cool. Okay, so we're going to come in here. So let's go back to our where we were before. So map tile, dungeon map tile 6. And we're using the brickwork floor. So this floor, but we want to use the steps. Standard staircase steps. But we really only want like one step. Something like this. We want it to go there. So that way you sort of step down and then these steps begin. Okay. So, and then there's going to be, like I want to block out this area here. So this will be only a one grid square, sort of big staircase coming down. So that set of steps should work. Or actually, would it look better if I do like a proper couple of steps? I'll give that a try. I'll move that over there. grab this one, because it is starting here. Yeah, I kind of prefer that. Okay, let's get rid of that. Grab this one. Okay, this one we're not going to need, so let's get rid of that. So that's in there, that's good. Okay, so the staircase is good. These actually belong in the staircase, but I'm going to make certain that they are at the bottom of the folder. So let's just put them there like that. Okay, cool. So that's the staircase done. Let's go and put just a bit of floor just in here, just like that. Now the question also becomes, do I want to have a little room in here? I like doing little rooms like that. And also, do I want to have it to be a circular staircase? Which can look quite cool, but it requires a little finessing to get it to work. And I'll show you what I mean. Okay, they're going into the wrong folder. I want those. So these here. That's the staircase side, not that one. So this to this. I want in the floor folder, but above that folder, above that staircase folder. Okay, now here's going to be the fun part. So let's have a look at the curved walls. Brick walls. Curved. Okay, so let's just try this out, just as an experiment. So that one's going to go to there. So we're going to have to mask that out. Pardon me. We're also going to have to mask inside here. Because if I go and grab that piece, put it there, then we're coming around to this, and we're going to put that there. So that's our outer wall. Now we to use the 5-foot curve. Oof, really raspy throat. Hope I'm not coming down with something. Okay, so we put these guys there. So this is going to be our curved wall coming around. Like that. And then we need this one. So it comes around like this. But what I might do is, because we are going to need a dead end. Like that. But I don't really have any dead ends that sort of... I don't have curve section that come to a dead end like that. This is made to do stuff like that. So I may need to sort of hide this in a way. But let's just put some walls there. So it does that. There'll be an entrance to a little room here, so let's just pop that in. So just like this. So there's a little circular room inside. So we'll have to come out here. So we need that bit of brick wall to go right there. And then we'll need a cornerstone there and a bit of brick wall there. Just like that. Let's make this 100%. Just like that. Zoom in a bit. Okay, so what I might go and do right now is actually mask out the bricks on this level. So let's come to here. Okay, let's put these bricks into a folder. Oops, that's not what I was expecting to happen. I want one folder, and these guys can go in it. Call this inner room. Okay, now we want to have a mask. Okay, that's full transparency, which is okay. What we do is we come back with a pencil. No, not a paintbrush, pencil. Make it white, because white is what shows through. Black is what's hiding it. Adjust the size of my pencil. Make it a little bit bigger. So, yep, there we go. And now I'm just going to color in the area where I want my bricks to appear. How cool is that? Cool. So that's what we want. Now we need to do roughly the same thing with our staircase, except actually I'll do the same thing. Add. So that's our mask, and then we just want to come in because we just want it displaying inside these walls. So let's just draw it in like that. There we go. And that is our staircase. But we need to fix this up. So what I'm going to try and do is see if I can cheat. Now that... So I'm still on... Oops. Pick. Excellent. So I want to grab that one. So that's it there. Now I'm going to add a mask to that. So I'm going to hide it all. Come back over here to my brush. Now I want to use an airbrush. Come on. And airbrush. There we go. And I'm still on white, and I just want to airbrush in the end wall. But I don't want to... Whoops, see how that's starting to show through? So I'll just zoom in a bit more. Go back to the brush. Go back to the airbrush, make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to switch over to black so I can hide, because black will hide it. There we go. And then just start to just hide that. There we go. Just hide that section. So all we've got is that end wall. And pretty much that is exactly what I want. Boom, boom. Let's go back to 100%. There we go. So I need to put a little bit of a end cap there. So let's switch back over, make certain that we're in our walls. we've got the move tools selected, so let's just grab a cornerstone. And we'll use a we'll use a flat one. We'll use like a nice, it comes to a nice point. There we go. So that's our little room within our staircase. And what I'll probably do is probably in Photoshop, not in GIMP, I'll probably add like a dark fade coming around here to sort of show that this is going down into darkness. But that's our staircase going down to one of our lower levels. So let us, okay, so go back to our move tool, go back to, do I want to curve this? I think I'll actually make this a square, block it in as a square section. So let's zoom back out. Hang on, let's go to view, zoom, fit in window. So I'll actually square this, and then I'll have these rooms sort of connect in somewhere. So to do that, let's just start grabbing some pieces. So we'll need to that'll come in there. But yeah, I should start talking about the adventure modules I'm working on. The first one's out there. There's sort of an introduction called Kidnapped, where people are kidnapped and they are marooned on the world of the Cube, which is a magical puzzle world. It's like imagine an entire world where the labyrinth is the world. And I don't mean like a teeny tiny labyrinth that covers the world. Like if ever you've seen the promotional artwork for the movie Labyrinth, the labyrinth only covers, it's actually quite a small, like it's a couple of kilometers in size, like it's a big area, but it's about the size of a city, whereas this labyrinth is the world. The walls of the labyrinth are actually 20 miles high. The area between the walls is 20 miles wide. So it's a gigantic structure, and it was made quite a long while ago by a group of very powerful beings, basically wizards, gods, and they made it so that they could essentially explore magic without any bounds, without anyone looking over their shoulder, without anyone saying, "Look, you shouldn't be doing that. Those people don't like you testing magic on them. Please don't do that. No, there ain't no human rights here." So yeah, it's a manufactured world which they use to explore the full extent of magic, what they can and can't do, create new spells, create new artifacts, the whole works. So that's the world of the Cube. But that civilization of wizards and gods and powerful beings, they had what they called 2 enlightened ages, where everything went their way and everything was groovy. Now, actually, I'm going to put in a layer just here. like that. I'm actually going to... don't want it to do that. Edit, clear. Okay, so then I want to go back to my pencil tool, because I only want to have white in here. Okay, so let's go, and that's a bit big for my pencil tool. Just make it a bit smaller. There we go. And I'm just going to color in. Now, having this as white it's not going to be a problem, because when you use these maps in, you know, if you're using them in Fantasy Grounds or Fantasy Grounds or Foundry, or oops, I think I just switched brushes by accident. There we go. So yeah, in the virtual tabletop program of your choice, which will mainly be Fantasy Grounds or Foundry, I'm not too certain whether these would work in Roll20. I'll give it a try with what I'm planning, but I don't quite know whether it'll work the way I think it'll work. But anyway, the whole idea is that these cards, these 10 square by 10 square cards, let's zoom back out. 50 window, there we go. These cards, you'll be able to just plonk them down and use them to build up a bigger map. That's why it's called the. Actually, I want this between the floors. There we go. So you'll be able to use this this system to build a larger map, because you'll just, you know, use whatever squares you want to put together. But anyway, back to my story. So yeah, the Enlightened Ages, they had 2 Enlightened Ages. Now I've got to remember where I put the entrances between these maps. I think I did here, although I could be wrong. I think I did quite close together. So I'll go quite close together and I'll check. I'll look at another map and I'll check it. So yeah, the civilization that created the cube, it existed for, you know, quite a good long while, and they called it the first age of enlightenment. Like, obviously they didn't call it the first age of enlightenment at the time because they were living in it. Nobody knows that it's the first age of enlightenment when you're actually living in the first age of enlightenment. That's a name that sort of people come along and call it later. Historians come along and go, yep, it was a age of majesty and might, and they created so many things and made so many innovations, and it was all groovy and awesome. Okay. So how might I... So I could make this into a bunch of little rooms. Or will I? Because I want to have doorways here, here, here. So... let's just experiment over here. So put that there. Am I in the right folder? Walls, yes. Oh no, I'm in the space between folders. A dimension of sight and sound. Between the worlds of folders. Okay, that's back where I need to go. So yeah, they had quite a prosperous time, researching magic, creating artifacts, the whole works, you know, working out how everything does what it does. But with all things, they ended up having sort of a little civil war, because various factions wanted to be in charge, because they basically had a ruling council, and as all things happen with the ruling councils, they started to meddle a lot more in what some of the wizards and gods were doing, and the wizards and gods were like, "Hey, yo, shut up! You're not meant to. You're not. The whole idea of this world is that we can do whatever we want, but you're bossing us around. Don't do that." So yeah, there was a bit of a civil war. Lots of wizards got offed, and this is where a lot of the dungeons that sort of litter the world of the cube sort of originated, was the civil war, because the wizards, they needed to hide from each other, so they started building dungeons for themselves to hide in and to kill the wizards who they were working with. Not very friendly and helpful. But I've just thought of something. I'm going to grab this, bring it up here. Grab this, put it there. There. This can go there. And there. Do pretty much the same thing here. So there's going to be little rooms. So this will just be like a bunch of little rooms with a corridor. So little rooms, corridor, staircase. That's what I'm going to make. Okay, so I need to pop back here, go to our passageways, and use these passageways to put in these walls. But yeah, as I was saying, so they had sort of like a bit of a civil war. Wizards killing off wizards, wizards creating hideouts to try and hide from other wizards as they were beating the snot out of each other. Do I want to use that? Yeah, that. No, I'll make that a square. So we pop back up. This is where we'll use the square ones. Yep. So that was sort of the end of the first age of enlightenment, was civil war. And it was basically an argument over who's running the world of the cube and how much they're meddling in each other's magical research, effectively. The war came to an end because the magic users and gods on one side were basically exterminated by the other. And some of them were used for experiments by one side or the other. If they captured a god, they basically went to town experimenting on that god to find out, how did gods work? We've got one, we've captured it. How does it tick? So it wasn't that good for whoever got caught by whoever was on the other side. But it was kind of good for whoever was on the other side, who caught the other side. They could do all their research on them. So it was like, not good. But yeah, the first age of enlightenment came to an end in a great big civil war. It all blew up in everybody's face. Created a lot of like the ruling council, which was sort of like a democracy of sorts. It got squished. We might actually just use these ones for these corners, these corner rooms. So this is where this is coming through. So we might actually need to get rid of that. Put in a doorway here. So this is where this comes through, so we'll use some passageways. Oh, no, should be here. There we go, so that's coming through here. So this will be a doorway into this little room. So I want some cornerstones. That will come in like that. And this one. Like that. And then we need to have this wall come back. I can hear a little dog outside barking her head off. Looking after my sister's dog again. So someone must be getting a delivery. And she always barks at delivery people. Nobody else. You know, you could be robbing the house and she won't bark at you. Delivery people, she will bite your legs off. And then we need a room, a bit of wall down there. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so we need to change this up a bit. So I might put that over there. This can go here. This goes over to here. So we have a room here. Oh, poor doggo. I just want to bark. So yeah, the first stage of enlightenment came to an end. Violently, bloodily, and lots of weird science on those who lost. As you do when you're mad. When you have a world created by mad scientists, everything gets experimented on. Anal probes for everybody. There we go. So we need 2 passageway pieces there. Oh, I think I'm going to have to go and... I'm going to have to go and get a little dog. Just bear with us a moment. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. Little doggo has been captured. Now she's at my feet. doing her best to sort of like, I'm gonna be good. I be a good doggo. I'll not bark. Or maybe I'll do a woof. Silly little dog. Where was I before I got disturbed again? Oh, I should change my streaming hours. Come on. What's going on? I want to have that. Oh, go away, Photoshop. I do prefer to do the bulk of my building, my map building in GIMP when I'm just placing tiles, but I actually do prefer to do the bulk of my special effects in Photoshop. The reason why I use GIMP to do my map building is because I find GIMP's snap for what would be a good way of saying it? The snap for pardon me. Let's put this here. It's snapping for aligning layers to the grid. I find is a hell load better than Photoshop. It's so much easier doing it in GIMP than I find in Photoshop. It just is so much easier doing this in this program than it is in another. I don't know why, it just is. It's a bit odd, but you know, that's what it is. Some programs are just really good at doing one particular thing. GIMP just seems to be, for my appreciation, GIMP is the program that has awesome grid snap. That's just, you know, my personal preference. Okay, we need to have some passageways. Hopefully, oh, come on, Photoshop, I didn't double click. Okay, go away, Photoshop. Yeah, as I was saying, the grid snap in GIMP is just 100 times better, I feel, than Photoshop. It's a personal preference, but you know, it just works. Now I need to get rid of that. There we go. But the problem that I have is I use a Wacom tablet, so I'm using a pen, I'm not using a mouse. And every now and then I accidentally double click on something in the file browser. And when you double click on something, it opens it in Photoshop by default, which is what I want it to do, but you know, I did accidentally double click and I seem to do it quite often, which can be a pain in the bum. There we go. So there's another room. So just slowly building this in. And back out to our passageways. Doink. And doink. There we go. so we've got this piece, which goes there. Same thing with this one. I should probably check now before I'm too far in to check at the moment. I'm pretty sure I've got these exits to the maps on the sides in the right place. I'll have to move them and rework all the walls if they're not in the right place. But I think I'm pretty good. There we go. And this is where we come along and put these pieces. We'll decide. I'll just get rid of that. Get rid of these. Now, I want to have that doorway the same over here, so I'm actually going to get rid of that. Zoe, shush, no bark. So where was I with my story? Yeah, I think the first age of enlightenment with my adventure world. Getting back to my adventure world, as I sort of stop talking about the adventure world and then start making things. But anyway, the adventure world. The first age of enlightenment sort of came to an end, very, very bloodily. And it was not good for anybody who lost. Let's just put it that way. Experimentation was had upon everybody who lost and fell into the hands of the enemy. Because when you're talking about like really powerful wizards, really powerful witches, and they're in league basically with gods. If a god sort of loses and falls into the hands of an enemy god or an enemy wizard, they're going to try and find out how their powers tick. So there are lots of wizards and beings that fell into the hands of, in inverted commas, the enemy, who were experimented on to find out, how does this guy's magic power, how does he create his magic power? So there was a lot of experimentation, which resulted in, some hidden dungeon where the wizard or the being who created the dungeon was experimenting on, effectively gods, the mystical powers of gods. And in those dungeons, which, in the world of the cube still exist today, you could go and find them. They are pretty dangerous because there's like very powerful mystic energies in the artifacts in those dungeons, that even the wizard who was researching in that dungeon didn't know how it worked. They were researching on those things to find out for themselves, how does this work, how does this tick. So those places can be around now from the end of the first age of enlightenment. Because some of the experiments sort of come in important later on, to find them, and you find out, because you could come along and unlock a god who's been trapped in some dungeon for goodness knows how long, and they might help you, they might kill you. Depends what kind of mood they're in. Generally, if you've been trapped for goodness knows how long, and you're going to be in a pretty foul mood. So it may not necessarily be a good idea to let some of these trapped beings out. You might release them and they might go, right, little flex, and I'm gonna pick up destroying from where I left off hundreds of years ago. So yeah, it could be dangerous. But that's the world of the cube. That's, you know, that's par for the course. And this map, I'm slowly getting the walls done. Almost finished. And then I'll go and put the floor through. You know, do something interesting for each of these rooms. But basically, I'm thinking like these could all just be like private rooms or storage, jail cells. Who knows? Okay. And I think, oops, I think that's it for all the walls. Boom, boom. There we go. So now we need to make, so we could put some doors in. Let's just do that. Let's just quickly go and whack a bunch of doors around the place. So where are our simple doors? Here we go. And they're in features. Good, good. So they go just like that. So I could put like a sort of open one there. But what we do want to do is they would be opening against flip horizontally. There we go. Because they would be opening with the door sort of coming back against the wall like that. Same here. So if we come over here, so I'll put one that's actually wide open. And this is where we need to layer, transform, anti-clockwise. So it'll be like that. And then we need a doorway there. So the majority I put the majority in closed. So that way people can open them, and you know, well, when they see the graphic, they can see that there's a door there. But I do like to put in, you know, partially open doors as well. And if we flip this one 180, there we go. That's on the right side. And flip it 180 again. Oops. So as I've said, that's the problem of using the pickup mode. Like, it's really useful, but it just ends up picking up stuff that you just don't want to pick up. Okay, so we want to clockwise and put it in position. There we go. And one more door here. We'll just make it closed as well. And transform like that. So that's all our doors. Excellent. Our doors are in position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that layer. I'm going to our floors, lock it. There we go. Oh, no, not our floors. We don't want our floors locked. Walls is what we want locked. There we go. Okay, so we're coming back. We'll lock that as well. but we want to be able to edit our floor. There we go. So let's just pop back to here. Okay, where's our brick? Brick. Where is it? Brick floor. There we go. That's the one we want. Right there. Okay. So what I am going to do is in some of these rooms, I'll put in this patterned floor. Like this. To make it look like, you know, these are special rooms. So we need to have this corner piece, which will be this one. Does that. A straight bit goes in there. And see, these rooms, this entire thing will look so much better. Like, it's quite bright now, but once you once I start putting lighting and dynamic lighting into each of these tiles, they'll become so much more interesting. So there we go. Nice little floor section. So let's just quickly fill in the floor. So in these main corridor areas, the floor will be rather plain. Well, plain, but I mean, it's not going to really be decorated. There we go. Come on. One thing to remember as well, if you actually like these adventure maps and you want to use them in your campaign, if you're a member of my Patreon, the Studio Wild for Patreon, you can download these maps, assuming I've remembered to upload them, because I should upload them each afternoon, but sometimes I forget. Sometimes I get distracted and I forget to upload them. But they usually end up being uploaded the following week, because the following week I usually make a little montage video of each dungeon build, which you can watch online. And it's just it's basically a quick sped up version of the video of me building them without me gas bagging in the background. Just a bit of music, and you see the map just sort of chunk build. Takes about 50 seconds to watch, just under a minute, and you get to see the map created before your very eyes. That's something you might enjoy watching. I think that's in the Endless Dungeon playlist, because these are cards that will go into the Endless Dungeon. And all of the art assets that I'm using to create these adventure maps are available as they are my map tiles packs. So this pack that I'm using at the moment, this is Dungeon Map Tiles 6. They go from Dungeon Map Tiles 1 all the way through to Dungeon Map Tiles 6. And there are lots of little add-on packs. So for example, this pack that I made the staircase with, that is actually the Catacombs map tiles art assets. they are all available via Patreon. So if you're on the Wizard tier on Patreon, you get access to them, the whole lot. You can download them, use them, no problem. If you want to, you can buy them individually through the various stores that sell them. And pardon me. Just add that. Like, you can use them to build in GIMP. You can use them to build in Photoshop. You can even use them inside Fantasy Grounds. And I'm probably going to do a new tutorial soon on how to use map tiles in Fantasy Grounds to build adventure maps. So that should be cool. Take me a while to do, because I think I was talking to someone about it just recently, and they were saying that it costs you about an hour of video editing time for each minute of on-screen time. So obviously it takes a while to make. If you're making like a whole video series, oops, I didn't want to use that. Get rid of that. So if you're making a whole video series, it takes a while to actually create it. So it might take me a while to make a whole new tutorial on building adventure maps with map tiles in Fantasy Grounds. But Fantasy Grounds has quite good tool set for building adventure maps inside the program. It's actually really, really good. But the one thing I always say is, don't use your construction file that, your construction map that you create in Fantasy Grounds. Don't actually use that in your adventure, because the map will be, it'll consist of lots and lots of pieces. Like, for example, if you look at this, you look at all the layers I have in here. I've just dragged and dropped in heaps of layers to make this floor. You don't want to have your players being able to access that. They don't need to be able to access it. But you... oops, if I just do this... so yeah, your players don't need to access it, but imagine the system drain it's going to have on your computer as and your players' computers if they're all looking at the same thing. What you do is you create your adventure map, pretty much the exact same thing as what I'm doing here. Then Fantasy Grounds has an export feature. It will allow you to export. I think it says a WebP. Could be a WebP, could be a JPEG. I can't remember. You export your adventure map from. Put that there. From Fantasy Grounds, and then you use the JPEG or the WebP in your adventure. So you don't actually use your construction file in your adventure. But I'll show that in the tutorial. There we go. So we just got these 3 rooms to go. So we're almost done with this one. Let's grab that like that, and this one. So that's those rooms done. Makes them look really, special, spiffy. Okay, so let's do the same thing down here with these rooms, but we'll switch around. We'll have the Small line on the outside, big fat line on the inside. So we use that there, and this one on this side. Like that. So almost completed. Where is, okay, that's the one we want there. Then we want to have this one coming back around. Just like that. And then two corners. Oops, that's not the correct way. It's here. Yep, that's okay. I used the wrong one there. We need to have that piece. That piece, that's correct. Okay. So then we're looking for, scroll back up here. So that one goes there, and this one goes there like that. Okay, and then pretty much the same thing over in this room. So again, small on the outside. Oh, wrong thing again. Like so. Now we need the long pieces, so grab that. Goes there, oops. And this one. I think I should do another marble set, like a really nice looking, really posh marble set. You know, map tiles. Probably do it when I feel like I need a break from writing adventures, which is what I'm doing a lot of at the moment. Which is why it's taking me so long to get the Trader's Way done, because it's mostly all story content. But this map is completed. But yeah, the Trader's Way, which is the story I'm working on at the moment, it is a lot of story content. It's a lot of let me just save where I'm putting this. Where are my projects? Map tiles, come on, in there. Go. Endless dungeon crawl. So this is the ground floor. I think I was calling staircases. Here we go. Internal staircase 2. Oh no, 1. Because I got 0, then I got 1. Okay. But this is not going to be a WebP. This is going to be a XCF save. There we go, and then I'll save a WebP of it. Export as. Scroll down, WebP. Yep, that should be what we want. Excellent. Just a little export. There we go. So what I might do is I'm actually going to grab all this stuff. I'm not going to recreate. I'm not going to close it down, create a new canvas. I'm just going to delete everything inside this canvas. Let's just get rid of all these pieces. Grab that. Dunk, delete. There we go. Get rid of the doors. Dunk, delete. Okay, so let's create an underground. So we'll go to our catacombs map tiles. Here we go. And we'll create what is above will link to underground. So let's just create that. So I'm going to need I should create the steps coming down first. Okay, so let's do that first. So let's pop down. Oh, I better take off the locks. There we go, so I can actually move things, put these into the correct folder. There we go. So let's just create where the staircase is going to come down. And I know I need to have some floor tiles down first. So I'm just going to quickly pop them in. But yeah, the Trader's Way, it's mostly story material that I've been writing, because I'm using the Trader's Way as sort of like an introduction to the world of the cube, and one of the characters, which is a dwarf guard called Khan Vanderbolt. What a name, hey? Khan Vanderbolt, he is himself he was marooned on the world of the cube as a kid. So he ended up in the world of the did I call it 12? The world of the cube as a kid himself. So he is sympathetic to other off-worlders who have themselves just arrived on the world of the cube. So he sort of like, he has a big area in his character sheet called anecdotes, and it's all about the world of the cube, and he's basically sort of like saying, you know, this is what to expect. This is where you are now. It's not, you know, it's not the best thing. It's not home, but this is how you can get by, and these are the things that you need to know to survive in the world of the cube. Okay, so that's my floor. Well, that's the start of my floor. This is where I'm going to put my staircase. So I'm going to create a folder. Let's call it staircase. And it was a big circular staircase coming from above. So I'm pretty certain I need to use these ones. And I'm pretty certain it comes out here. So let's grab... Oh, don't do that. So let's grab this one. Okay, so that goes there. Then we need to have the next one round, which I think is this one. And that'll go there, but I need that to be under that one. There we go. So the shadowing is correct. Same thing again, this one around. This one goes here. It needs to be below these two. So again, the shadowing is correct. Now, I think that'll be all that I need. But we'll have to use, because this is coming from above, so we'll use the walls from Dungeon Map Tile 6 just on this section, just to show that this is coming from somewhere else. So let's grab, so there's brickwork walls. So this will be the interesting bit, where do I keep the... So it comes down like this. And this one. Like that. Then we use the large 10-foot walls. Yep, just like that. There we go. And this one. Like that. So it's coming down, comes out here. But this is the interesting question that I'm going to be asking myself. Do I just have this coming out? How can I... Because I want to kind of merge this into the stonework that's going to be down here. So I might just actually fade a passageway, such as this one. So grab that, put that there. But I might fade the brickwork from the catacombs into this to show that there's a transition between levels. But pretty much the same thing I'm about to do with this tile, because I'm going to put that tile there. I'm then going to mask it like that. Zoom in. Oops, too far. Let's just go 100%. There we go. Go to the airbrush. Oops. Okay, so it's on white. It's about that big. It should be good. So start to just fill in. There we go. So I'm going to do something like that. So that looks like it's coming to a dead end. But I'm going to do something like that here. But I'm going to do it with... So I'm going to come out of the staircase. Go to the floor. Oh, I think I just made everything in there. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so I've got to pick out... where is it? So that... 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 But not that. So to there. So that stuff, it belongs up in my walls. I'm pretty certain all of this I want in here. There we go. Yeah, just like that. Okay. That's what I want. Okay. So that's going to be in there. So now what I want to do is I want to go back to our catacombs. Catacombs. Catacomb rock. Stone wall overlays. That's what we want. Yep, that looks like it. And then we want to have a passageway. So one of these, so I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to overlay it over this one like this. But here's where the transparency comes in. Add. So now it's transparent. I'm now going to yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking of. So that now if I put another one just here, just like that, it's blended in. So it looks like it's gone from these rubble, sort of rough hewn stones to this nicely hewn brick. There we go. Just what we want. Excellente. Which means that we can then put a little room in here to sort of hide this. Because we don't want this in here. We want to hide this. So again, I'm going to come back to here. Mask it. That's all hidden. Grab. English. I don't really like how that works. There we go. Yeah, it's just there's some bits in GIMP. It's probably because I'm so used to Photoshop that like how it sort of works, I'm not that fussed about. Like overall, GIMP's really good, but it's just, I don't know, Photoshop. It's just better. But GIMP is getting there. I reckon give GIMP a while, give it a few more years of development, and it will be so much better than Photoshop, or it'll be on par, at least. Now, okay, so that's there. That goes there. That goes there. That's the bit. Okay, so let us just give a bit of transparency. Like that. But I want to do that again. There we go. Because I was having, you could see like a sharp edge in the shadow there, which I didn't want. Or is this doing the way I want it? Let's just go back to... There we go. Perfecto. There we go. Okay, so that's looking the way I want it to look. So we've only got this piece here coming through down to our dungeon. Okay, so let's go to view, zoom, fit to window. There we go. Back to the move tool. We're going to be in our walls folder. Excellent. Alright, so let's just go and put the, because I know on the dungeon, or on the catacombs, because this is the catacombs, I'm using a 2x2 gap in each of the walls. So let us go and put that 2x2 gap. So it's sort of like a passageway bisecting this. So I'm going to turn into rooms on the outside of here. So there's that entrance there. That will map over when, you know, when this card is next to another card. Same over on this side. Like that. Oop. Whoops. Just like that. And then down here. And this is how you get from one level to the other. So this is going up to the level above. Okay, so just oops. Oh no, not Photoshop again. Go away. Go away. Ah. I do editing in you later. So we're going to have some rooms out the sides here. Something, you know, something interesting. Because the whole idea is that, you know, this is the catacombs level. You're coming down to it's where all the dead are. You know, the dead people are down here. Maybe there are the living dead down here. But could be a torture chamber. I'll have to make a model of a rack or other torture devices. I just had an idea. I'll do this up as you know, torture chambers, and it's like it's staffed by like orcs and bugbears or something like that. But it's actually they're all like chiropractors. So you come down here and it's like, you know, they've got the rack, they've got other things that look like torture equipment, but they're all actually practicing chiropractors. And it's just you know, so adventurers come down, they're going like, oh my god, it's a dungeon of horrors, and it's, you know, they're ready to fight the bugbears and the orcs and bugbears, just like as a DM, you'd play them really, really camp. As you know, they're there to sort of like, you know, oh, come in, we can do wonders with your complexion, and you know, oh, you know, you look like you've got such pent up anger. You know, come and enjoy, have a moment on the rack. A good stretching will help your muscles. And I could just see the characters be like, what? The adventurers would just be like, I'm so confused and conflicted. I feel that I should be fighting these creatures. They're orcs, they're bugbears, they're horrible. But this one's offering me a massage. Oh, shush, little puppy. No bark. I just think that would be hilarious. But that's just me. That's just me. I like funny things like that. Okay, so one thing I didn't do with this pack, which I kind of every now and then wish that I had have done, is I didn't make curved walls with these really stony, bricky looking texture, which I think it would have looked really cool. Oh, come on, Photoshop, go away. I wonder what's causing me to double click all the time. Accidentally double click so much today. Okay, so we're going to have this come around here, so I'll have to fill this area white to block it out. My poor old computer, I think it's on its last legs. I know the graphics card is on its last legs. I'm only running a 1660 Ti, which back in the day was actually really powerful. It still is a good graphics card. It's just compared to what's out there now, it's time for me to upgrade. I really should getting in and getting a new graphics card. I really should be getting in and getting a new computer. But needs must. Other things are chewing on the bank account other than a new computer, which is a bit sad. Because I think my computer's sort of like going, kill me, do it, kill me now. I'm too old for this. Okay, so we could make something in there with a different texture. We could make it like a little shrine. I kind of like the idea of doing that. So let's do this. So we'll do an entryway, and then we'll have different wall set in the center here with like a little shrine type thing. I think that'll look very interesting. So because when I made this set of map tiles, the catacombs map tiles, I made it specifically to make catacombs. So I didn't envisage the usage of curved walls, because in this set, I think plaster walls overlay. I think this is this is the full set here, because this has got cornerstones, doorways, double doors, passageways, dead ends, single door overlays. It doesn't have curved walls. So again, I think it was because I made 2 sets of walls and 2 sets of floors in this set. Like, you know, here's rubble rock walls. Yeah, this is the proper set. These walls that I'm using here, they're actually add-ons to this. Here's the curved walls. So what I might do is I might put a center area in here using this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the curved walls, plonk them down, just like that. Grab a straight wall. So that'll go there. Cornerstone there. Where is it? So we need over here. So this might be a little shrine in here. So I'm going to fade some walls over this, same as I did just before. So let's grab passageway. Here we go. I'll use this one. So we're going to position it over the top of this, but I'm going to fade it into it. So let's go for that, and then we go for this, and then we do this. That should be what we want. Okay. Then I have to go and grab this this one below it. So this is where I'm going to use the pick one. So grab that. That should be the correct layer. Yep, I'm going to have to do it twice. So I'm going to zoom in. Here we go. So I'm going to have to sort of fade this out a bit. So let's give it a bit of that. Grab this. Just going to sort of fade it into that. So I'm sort of fading into that wall. And I'll come back up here. Bring in these bricks a bit more. I mean the stones. There we go. Okay, so find this one. And I'm going to have to do the same thing to it. So let's mask it. And then I'm not gonna use the gradient brush. Just gonna do that. Go back up here. Bring that in a bit more. Come back to this. Okay. I'm gonna switch that around because I can see I've got lumpy bits. Make it a bit bigger. There we go. You won't see that. You won't see that. Actually, I might just see if I can smooth it. There we go. That's looking the way we want. Excellent. So you won't see how mottled the transition is once I put in a bit of floor. But we are going to need some cornerstones. Here. We are going to need to add in some white to fill in this area. So just make my pencil smaller. Come down here. Add in a blank layer. Oops. Clear. So I want this to be between the floor and the walls folder, just like that. And then, oops, that's black. Don't want black. Want to switch that around. There we go. So just fill in. So again, you know, it's not that important what's in the middle here, because once the dynamic lighting is set, you won't see this. And there we go. Okay. Ooh, I may have to fix up a bit of the shadow. Does that? Yeah, so we must not be letting a bit of the shadow through. There we go. So that's looking a lot better. Okay, so let's go up here. So we need to put some cornerstones in. Let's just go and grab those. Oops. Catacombs. No, not plaster wall overlays. We want these stone wall overlays. There we go. And the cornerstones. So that one goes there. This one goes here. Right there. And the last one up in there. Okay, so that's our entrance. So that's view, zoom, fitted window. There we go. So we'll have these walls come around and sort of So we'll have sort of like big open areas here. So we'll go and quickly put those in. Here we go. Like that. Oh, that one. Just there like that. I actually kind of like these. I like these rough rubble wall sort of looking walls. Has a lot of character to them. Down there. Oops, see this is the thing about the pick mode in the move brush, is that you can accidentally pick up stuff you didn't mean to pick up. Like just then I just picked up the background. I did not want to do that. Even though my intention is to fully cover that background. And you'll notice that I use a grey background. Not like, I don't just go white. I find having white backgrounds in your base artwork, it's very harsh on the eyes. And you actually want to see when, if you actually draw highlights, you want to see your highlights. You want to see that artwork. When you're actually drawing or painting with white, you want to see it. So having I find a slight grey off-white background is better. That's my opinion. Oh, pardon me. Just had a sneezing fit. Just had to mute the microphone. So we come back around and probably have some sort of entryway, an open entryway here. It is the underground. This is where people come to view the dead, or commune with the dead if you're a necromancer. Come down, bring your bag of chips, TV, spend a while with an old dead friend, watching the football, reminiscing about old times. Oh, remember that time I clobbered you in the football. Oh, that's how I ended up with a broken neck and died. Oh, puppy. So, come here, monster. Come on. Stop doing a woof woof. You're blowing the eardrums out of my viewers. Okay, so hang on. Why is Photoshop's back again? So just a few more edits with walls. And that's where we need to come back around. There, like that. So, oh, we've got to do around here. Where is that? So, that piece. Okay, just in there. Now I have to go and put all the end caps on. All the cornerstones. Just like that. So they could be not graves, but coffins, or a big sarcophagus in each of these chambers. This would be a great place to have a ambush by the undead. They come out, have you got a glass of water? I've got a really dry throat. You don't know how bad it is, you know, being dead for so long. I could really do with a drink. You got some bourbon on you? If you haven't seen it yet, go and watch the D&D, the Dungeons and Dragons movie. They have a great comedy piece with the undead, where the characters get to ask the undead 3 questions. Like the dead are basically risen just to answer these 3 questions, and they just end up asking them really stupid questions. He's like, I didn't mean to talk to you, and he's like, I wasn't asking the question, and the guy's like, okay. Yeah, it's worth seeing, worth watching. I fully recommend the Dungeons and Dragon movie. It is a laugh. That's what I'm looking for. It is hilarious. Has the fattest dragon I have ever seen in the show, and they make some good puns about the dragon. Something about, it moved to a lair because it ate its old lair. It's a very rotund dragon, which is part of the joke. He's very large. He's very big. It's the biggest dragon I've ever seen. He's really great. There we go. So that's all of our walls. Alright. So we'll have to go and put some coffins in all these little areas. But first, we want to fill in the floor. But I'm going to lock off these layers because I don't want to accidentally move them. I actually lock that off too. But we want to put stuff in here. Okay, so let's go back to the catacomb rock floor. Here we go. And we can actually put in some pit traps. Oh, I like the idea of pit traps. So let's pop a pit trap right here. So if you want to get into this little bit, you've got to get past here, where you could fall down. Oh! Okay, and because this is coming underneath this, I don't have to worry about masking. Woohoo! There we go. So that's that piece done. Okay, so just go around the outside here. one thing we could do is I do have some 2x2 holes in the ground. Could make it that there's a huge hole there, and there's a hole here, but it's covered. It's a covered hole. And use some of these 2x2 pieces to quickly fill in these large areas, because they're going to be pretty, pretty blank. There we go. That's looking pretty good. There's 2x2s. So that's that area. So I'll put coffins in there later. Now the question is, do I want to have pit traps in each of these entryways? I'm leaning towards no. Like this one and this one, I'm liking sort of like that. You kind of don't want to put pit traps everywhere. As much as as a DM, I love a good pit trap. They're very simple, easily found, easily disarmed. Well, you don't really disarm them. You can easily avoid them. But parties that just run ahead, they can. It's just sort of like, because all you do is you just have a hole, like a 20-foot deep hole. So anyone who falls into it is just going to be suffering falling damage. It's really, and they can get out easily. The rest of the party is going to pull them out. But it's a good way of, if you've got, I don't really want to say it, but if you've got some idiot players that just zerg, it can be a really good way of pulling them up and getting them to pay attention by just dropping them down a hole. As silly as that sounds, some players just need to be dropped down a hole. There can be nothing more satisfying to a game master than dropping a player down a, not a long drop, and it's not going to most characters, your average pit trap isn't going to kill them. They're not going to die, but it will wake them up. And it can be some great comedy. Because like in adventure, you do want to have traps that are going to be lethal, that will really worry the group of adventurers. You do want to have some traps that are going to be a real challenge, but you also want to have traps that are just going to be a mundane challenge. They're not going to kill the group, But they don't know that. They don't know that, you know, that plaster, that plaster cover over the hole in the ground, which their rogue has easily discovered, is just leads to like a, you know, a hole, effectively a hole in the ground, because that's all a pit trap is a hole in the ground. You don't need to put spikes at the bottom. The fall can be enough of a kick up the butt. But yeah, so you're going to use them sparingly. You can't put them everywhere. As much as I want to. Although I have on occasion put a dungeon. Pardon me. I have on occasion put the entrance to a dungeon in the bottom of a pit trap. That was some hilarity. When they fell in, when they were sort of like, they avoided it and they didn't find the thing that they were looking for. Okay, here is a bit of a problem that I've discovered. I've got a bit of an overlap here. So let's hide it. And then, using a pencil, display it. So we only want to display that. Same thing with this one, because we can see a bit of poke out there. I thought I was going to be lucky and get away with not having to do that, but apparently no. Okay, and I'll have to do with this one here. That one there. There we go. Okay. So we go back to, let's scroll back to the top. Oh, we're in our, oh, I know what I've done. I'm in my stone walls. Why am I in my stone walls? I should be in floor. I put some stuff into the wrong layer. Oh. Oh well. Too late now. I'm not going to go back. A flattery refuge. Oops. Oh. Not again. Okay, Photoshop, you can open and you can sit in the background because I am going to need you later. I'm just not going to use you now. It does slap my system having two graphics programs open, which is a pain in the boom. And almost there. One more room to go. There, and then down here. We could do... No. I promised myself I wouldn't put pit traps everywhere. I was thinking I could put a pit trap in and have it that you've got to get across the pit trap to a sarcophagus on the other side. But no. And one. And done. We are completed. So there's the entrance from above, down to our catacombs. So thank you for watching. If you've liked what you've seen, please, like, subscribe, flick us a comment. I'm always happy to hear feedback. I live for feedback. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good day, have a good week, and thank you.